Welcome back. Question: can a state, or any state for that matter, force your private trust into contracts of performance? You're going to want to stick around for the answer because this is one of the bigger pieces of power that I teach within my trust workshop. So make sure you become a member. Enough yap, let's dive in. Here we go. A state cannot typically force a private trust to enter into a new contract, especially when the trust documents explicitly state it has the right not to contract with any entity, unless there is a compelling reason for the state to intervene, such as a breach of fiduciary duty or a public interest concern. Now let's go a little further, right below. Right not to contract, because you have a right to contract or not contract. If the trust document specifically grants the trustee the right to refuse to contract with any entity, the state cannot generally override that provision. So if you write it in your trust, it stands as law. Remember, the maxims of law says the contract makes the law, the agreement makes the law, and it's above other laws because it's a private contract. This is what I teach, because if you write it in your trust, it stands as law, and the states cannot impair that obligation of contracts. It's a private contract. They said it right here. I didn't say it. Now check this out. Here we have Article 1, Section 10 of their United States Constitution. Remember, this protects you from them. Here we go. At the bottom, underlined, no state shall make any law impairing the obligations of contracts. So you're using this as a reference. It's not your law. You don't have constitutional rights, but you're using this in order to fend them off and keep them at bay from your private contract. Now, if they say, oh, that's federal, we're state, we don't have to follow the federal constitution, we have our own constitution. I've heard that once, but let me show you what I hit them with. I hit them with Article 6. Let's read. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. And here we go. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, oath of office. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state, that means all, to the contrary notwithstanding. So what does this mean? This means that the states cannot go against their federal constitution. Why? Because we're not talking about the California Republic or the New York Republic or anything like that. We're talking about the state of. Capital S in the state of is DC. That is the contract within the union. So they have to follow this. And the judges are bound thereby. But here's the thing. If you go to their state courts or their administrative courts, you may not get the outcome that you want. That's why you got to look at Article 3 that says if a state is involved in any suit, it must go to Supreme Court. So you got to keep that in mind and make sure that if they try to take you to their courts, you countersue them in federal court. So to wrap it up, a state cannot force a private trust into contracts of performance, especially if there is a clause or a specific article stating that the trustee cannot contract with any foreign or corporate entities. Join the Trust Workshop so you can gain the knowledge of protecting and securing you, your family, your property and assets for the benefit of the beneficiaries. So I hope this helped out. And until next time, Sacre Corporis.